And with that, let me turn to our guests. I'm very pleased to have with us today Waanja Kaaria, WFP's representative and country director in Haiti, and Lola Castro, WFP's regional director for Latin America and the Caribbean. If we can bring them up on screen, they should be speaking to us from Haiti and from Panama. Yeah, I see them both. Thank you very much for coming and for talking about the situation in Haiti. I think first, if we can hear from Ms. Kaaria, and then from Ms. Castro, and then we'll turn to the guests after that. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor. I have recently joined the World Food Programme office in Haiti as country director, and I am pleased to share a few updates and developments on Haiti. The political situation remains uncertain in Haiti. Just give me 1 minute, 1 second, sorry. To continue, the political uncertainty in Haiti continues, while the ramping violence of armed groups and food insecurity continues to plunge Haiti into a spiraling crisis that requires urgent attention. According to recently published food security analysis report, which is published under the integrated phase classification, 5.4 million Haitians, or we can say roughly about half of the population, suffering from acute hunger. This includes about 6,000 of internally displaced sheltering in sites where we have also seen pockets of IPC5. The IPC5 level is the highest level, and this is also displayed in famine-like conditions. The same report identified a declining malnutrition situation, citing about 270,000 children across Haiti being acutely malnourished. We know also that hunger significantly increases the likelihood of engaging in adverse coping mechanisms, and especially dire for young people is that risk of being recruited by armed groups and sliding into criminality. And just to say that recently, also as a result of increasing armed group attacks, tens of thousands have additionally been further displaced internally, and we are seeing that figure doubling just in the last 3 months, bringing the total number of displaced people to over 700,000 people. I also recently visited a school called Marijan in the metropolitan area, where I witnessed over 5,700 displaced people and their living conditions who are seeking shelter in a school. And among them were many children and many women sleeping on the floor with really nothing, practically nothing to sleep on. The conditions were, in crowded rooms and with very poor sanitation. I talked to a number of people, but I particularly recall talking to 2 young ladies, 17 years and 18 years of age. Both of them were mothers at an extremely young age. They told me that they felt extremely helpless, and their biggest fears were really the future of their infant children. But within this context, so what is WFP doing in this crisis? How are we responding? And just to add that WFP, even during the peak of the armed violence early this year, WFP stayed and delivered support to the most vulnerable populations, particularly in Port-au-Prince area. And to date, I want to mention that within that area and to internally displaced people of currently of over 135,000 internally displaced, WFP has provided over 2 million hot meals using locally procured, using local partners. And, this is cooked in local kitchens, and the food is prepared with locally grown and locally produced ingredients. I always feel very inspired every time I visit the local kitchens where our local partners start cooking very, very early in the morning, and just to make sure that the food is ready by noon. This ensures that displaced people across the capital can actually receive at least one hot, nutritious meal in a day. Some of these workers also have shared that they were forced themselves to leave their homes due to violence, and they normally feel very proud to be contributing to alleviating suffering. Them knowing particularly the situation, very well how they too suffered under the same conditions, and they are happy to do this while also earning some money also to sustain their families. So through WFP's on a national level, the World Food Programme has to date provided assistance to 1.4 million people so far, and with a target of getting to about 2.2 million by the end of the year. And support has been provided through distribution of cash assistance, cash-based transfers, and we've distributed over 31 million US dollars so far, and also combined with distributing over 7,500 metric tons of food. With growing numbers of IDPs and the recent deportations, actually there's recent deportations of Haitians from Dominican Republic, WFP continues to provide hot meals, which are really, really essential to meet life-saving needs of this particular group of population, internally displaced and deported Haitians. While of course we have a good portfolio of providing humanitarian assistance, we also stand with Haitians in addressing the structural causes of hunger and ensuring long-term development. An example is what we provide through the school meals programs, which are implemented jointly with the government. And here we've provided support to over 500,000 children receiving cooked meals at schools every day. And the Haitians government vision really aims at achieving 100% of these meals being provided from locally produced and locally sourced ingredients. And so far, the World Food Programme, in the areas that we are doing distributions, we have actually achieved providing about 70% of what the children are eating in schools being provided from smallholder farmers, meaning that we are actually ahead of the government schedule and vision. So I wanted to add that each month, also during a school year, the World Food Programme provides, purchases quite a number of commodities, totaling to about 1.7 million worth of food commodities, and we really target smallholder farmers. This year alone, we've targeted over 6,000 smallholder farmers coming out of combined, consolidated from 150 farmer organizations. This is important, particularly as it boosts local economy and supports the local smallholder farmers and provides a strong allows for strong supply chain resilience. So a point I wanted to raise is particularly around the social protection. We also do have a robust support to government on the social protection system. And within that, we have 30%. We have supported the government to building a database of about 30% of the Haitian population are in that database. And this year we supported with cash transfers about 125 to 125,000 people. And with that, we provided cash transfers to allow Haitians, again, the dignity of choice to be able to purchase what they see as the essential needs to fulfill some of their basic needs, while also contributing to the local economy. Just to say now, moving forward and to be able to continue with support and the response to the Haitian people, the World Food Programme requires predictable and sustained support from our donors, from our donor partners. Allow me to stop there and pass the floor back to you.
Thank you. And now I give the floor to Lola Castro.
Yes, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody in New York, here from Panama. After Waanja, I just wanted to mention me. I'm the regional director. I'm based in Panama. I've been traveling to Haiti over the last 3.5 years very frequently, and have seen how our team and our partners on the ground are seeing this crisis slowly unfolding. So really, thank you for having us today talking about Haiti that falls off the track and falls off the regular emergencies lately. So it's extremely important that we keep on talking that this humanitarian situation in Haiti has been going too long and is still deteriorating. I was this week, in fact, I just came back from Haiti as well to be with my colleague Waanja and others, and I saw how the response is done and what else we can do together. Between us, what I saw in Port-au-Prince is some of the basic services collapsing, a very critical security situation that I'm sure we'll talk later. And this was, everybody was in agreement, the authorities, the civil society, the population, the partners, and the international community, that something else has to be done and more has to be done to really control the situation. There were clashes from Saturday, Sunday between the armed groups and the Haitian and international security forces, and they became widespread in Port-au-Prince. While we were there, civilians started erecting roadblocks to protect themselves. Really very critical situation that makes our work as welfare program and our ability to reach the vulnerable communities more difficult. As one just said, this year we have reached 1.4 million people, but it has not been without a lot of efforts. And we're always exploring the ways how we can maintain this access, but always with principle and humanitarian principles on top of it. Just to give you an example, over the weekend, this area of Solino in Port-au-Prince, that is very close to our office, 20 minutes from our office, was attacked, and there were thousands of displays, new displays, on top of the ones that we have heard that were moving in town, and WFP had to really move on and start food distributions, hot meal distributions, and we have already managed to go for 1,500 people on Wednesday. So it's really very difficult, and it's an ongoing process. You have to scale up all the time. Just to mention very rapidly that obviously the whole country is not Port-au-Prince, but we are seeing also these armed groups going into productive areas like the Artibonite, one of the Haiti's breadbasket, and we have seen how farmland is abandoned, and worse, how we saw the catastrophe and the attack in Ponsonde last early October, and 115 casualties. WFP has been there together with other UN agencies and the government authorities to ensure that the IDPs from that massacre, if we want to call it something, were receiving hot meals and others. But this is on daily basis happening in Haiti. On top of that, we have a very large inflation, around 40% food inflation, and it's affecting mostly women, especially the women who are the traders in the country and that move the food around in Haiti. Just to finish, I had the opportunity during my visit to go to a school, and there the things are going well. The food that is produced locally from farmers, local women and men, is also arriving to the children. It's local production, and it's petit meal or sorghum, beans and fresh vegetables arrive to the children, maintain the children at the school, and create some sort of stability and normalcy. And we really need to continue to do much more of that. 500,000 children receive this food every day from the Ministry of Education, WFP, and other actors. So it's extremely important to do that more. And also, as Waanja said, we really need to our priority is to save lives, especially we have found these 6,000 people on catastrophic levels of hunger, but also we need to continue investing in the areas where it's possible to procure food, to reduce undernutrition, to strengthen the social protection system and education systems. And just to remind everybody that Haiti has a humanitarian response plan, the whole UN and civil society, but it's only 42% funded. And we are in October. So really, we need to do much more and much better as international community. And WFP alone needs $94 million from November through March next year to be able to sustain the actual emergency response. And this without considering the deportees, the new IDPs, and the potential hurricane hits. But basically, we need to continue working together. And just to mention, humanitarian savings life is extremely important. We cannot give up. We need to scale up, as well as trying to build lasting peace and security, because food security and security, they go close together and they cannot be differentiated. Let me leave it there, and over to you.
Thank you very much for your briefings, and I'll now turn the floor over to reporters for their questions. First question goes to Edith Lederer.
Thank you very much on behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association for doing this briefing. My name is Edith Lederer from the Associated Press. I have two questions. First, with gang violence increasing, is it possible to avert famine and more acute hunger? And secondly, have you seen any impact of the multinational force led by Kenya that's trying to help the Haitian National Police target the gangs? Have you seen any impact of its work? Thank you.
Maybe I can start. And definitely welcome Lola to add on. I want to say that even with increased gangs, WFP does definitely try to intervene in those locations, particularly in the areas of Port-au-Prince. The World Food Programme has managed to negotiate access, and so we sort of have, to the extent possible, a lot of access to some of those IDPs located, trapped behind enemy lines. And we've been able to access about 135,000 internally displaced populations. Now, as Lola has mentioned, it is important to have peace, to have, to improve the food security situation. Like if you note that the population, the 5,000, the 6,000 who are in IPC 5, those are the populations that we actually didn't manage to reach. So I feel with continued access, we would definitely be able not to avert hunger, but at least to minimize suffering and to actually address in an immediate form to avert hunger. But I believe that a peaceful resolution will be very, very critical to have a sustained food security and return to normalcy. The World Food Programme particularly does not, involve itself in political, situations. We are definitely just a humanitarian organization, and so I would not be capable of answering the question on the progress of the MSSM mission. But I want to tell you that what we are trying to do is ensure that we keep the political and the military interventions, very well distinct from the humanitarian response. And in this way, the World Food Programme and together with other UN organizations does not become a target in any way. So we work within the principles of the humanitarian principles, or making sure that we remain neutral, and then we let the political arm and the security arm of the MSSM and the Haitian National Police actually work to restore peace in the in Haiti, and particularly in Port-au-Prince. Lola, I don't know if you.
Just one line, as Waanja said. Look, in 2022, we had, if you remember, 20,000 people in famine-like conditions in Cité du Soleil, and we managed to gain access, and we averted famine. So now, as Waanja said, we have 6,000 people. We need to gain access to those ones. It's possible. It's a lot of negotiations with the community, with the civil society, with the faith-based organizations, with everybody who is across lines. But it's important that we're there, we open, because if not, the situation will go bad. We manage, and we managed in 22. I'm sure we'll manage now as well. And this is what we have been discussing this week with all the actors. And nothing else to add. Thank you.
Thanks. Pam?
Thank you. Thank you to both the briefers. It's Pamela Falk from U.S. News and World Report. You began this briefing by talking about the spiral of violence of armed groups. It's a follow-up to Edie's question, not asking you how the UN mission is doing, but has the Kenya force, and maybe not how the Kenya force is doing, but have you seen violence decrease, increase, stay around the same? You've been there. What's your sense since they came? I mean, it sounds pretty bad right now. Thank you.
Maybe I take this one, Waanja, as you replied already, and I didn't, that part. So to Pam, thank you for the question. Look, we have seen in recent months, it has been very calm. But this weekend, the situation turned around. And when we met with authorities, it was very clear. What they told us, I will tell you what they told us, because we are, as Waanja said, we don't work directly with MSSN. But the issue is that we saw that there have been a backlash now, and that there are some areas of Port-au-Prince, Solino, Croix-de-Bouquet, Bel Air, and others that are in intense fighting there. And the authorities are saying they need more support from the whole international community for the security. We as well for program, we say, while we increase security, we also have not to forget the humanitarian piece and maintain them strictly separated so that we can continue having access and not to become a target neither, but also we can do our job for the most vulnerable. That's I think, replying more directly to your question. Thank you.
There's a question from Jackie Charles.
Yes, hi, good afternoon. I have two questions. One, yesterday, a helicopter that is managed for WFP was struck by gunfire. So the question is, what sort of impact will that have on your ability to deliver humanitarian aid, especially in regions like the South, where we have 3 million people? And then the second question is, I recently came back from Haiti, and when I was visiting the displacement camps, I had a couple of doctors tell me that they're not seeing a lot of progress in terms of the nutrition issue. And in fact, malnutrition is growing even among people who were getting some assistance from WFP because they were getting cash transfers as opposed to hot meals. And people are so heavily indebted that they were using the money transfers not to eat, but to pay off their debt. So I'm just wondering, how do we tackle this cycle when we're looking at just not hunger, but deeply malnutrition? You guys are trying to address it, but at the same time, it seems that it's not making any dent.
So let me start with the last, question mentioning about the IDPs. I want to say that the assistance, while we are providing assistance, it's not going in the frequency and the quantities that we would wish. This is largely because of limited financial resources to intervene sustainably. I had mentioned that we do need to provide consistent support, but nonetheless, in addition to the hot meals that we provide to the internally displaced, we also follow up with a cash transfer to them that is given for successive 3 months to allow them to at least rebuild their livelihoods. Now, this is not to say that the needs are, that meets or their needs. I think the situation is severe, and I believe that we need to introduce much more robust integrated support. Just to mention that malnutrition is not just a factor of just food alone, but there's a multiplicity of interventions that need to be need to be implemented. We also need good health facilities. We also need water and sanitation. So all those things need to play a role in improved nutrition situation. And I must say that, as Lola said, the humanitarian needs, needs are huge, which are only funded at 42%. And these are some of the challenges that all the humanitarians are actually grappling with at the moment. And what was the other question? I'm sorry.
The effects of yesterday's incident.
On the UNHAS, yes. I just want to mention that indeed, yesterday, the United Nations Humanitarian Air Service helicopter, was actually hit by gunfire. But just to mention that we managed, the helicopter was landed back at the airport safely, and just to in order to mitigate impact on the humanitarian response, the World Food Programme actually has another flight, a fixed wing, that is now going to be deployed to do additional routes while the UNHAS helicopter is being serviced. The interruption is only today, where we have put all flights on hold for today, just to allow us time to assess the implications of the gunfire, and to allow us to reestablish additional routes for next week, and to ensure that we are, keeping an eye on the safety of all staff. Back to you.
Okay. Thanks. And I have, I believe, one last question online, which is from Ridwan. Please join in from the chat.
All right. Thank you very much. My name is Ridwan Karim Dini Osman. I report for the EIB network. I'm also a Dag Hammarskjöld Fellow. I want to understand how the nutrition crisis in Haiti is impacting health outcomes on the ground. If you could throw a bit of light on that for me.
Yes, thank you. And I think nutrition and health are intimately linked. But just to mention that this year, for the very first time, we were able to add nutrition analysis to the IPC. And this will allow us to look at this, actually identified over 125,000 children as being malnourished. And this analysis now will allow us to look forward and do much more robust analysis, and make sure that we are looking at trends for the future, and see how we bring partners together to concert efforts. The relationship of malnutrition with health is actually the inverse. When morbidity cases increase, you find that also malnutrition increases. And so until we resolve also a robust mechanism of ensuring that health facilities are working, it will be very, very difficult to really tackle food insecurity and malnutrition here in Haiti. And so again, it calls us back to making sure the humanitarian needs funds are funded slightly, definitely over the 42%, because all players are critical for improved and sustained food security and nutrition in the country.
Edie?
Just a quick question on this helicopter being hit by gunfire. Where did it happen, and where was the helicopter coming from and going to?
Thank you for the question. The helicopter was leaving Port-au-Prince on its way to Le Caille, one of the locations where humanitarians are implementing activities. And I just want to add that this is a rare occurrence, and definitely is is being looked at. And as soon as additional information is available to us, definitely will be available to provide it to you. But at the moment, there are ongoing investigations around the incident, but that will be availed to you as soon as is provided to us.
So just to make sure, it was leaving Port-au-Prince, so it was in the area of the capital.
It was within the area of the capital and just departing the airport, yes.
And with that, I'd like to thank once more our guests, Waanja Kaaria, WFP's representative and country director in Haiti, and Lola Castro, WFP's regional director for Latin America and the Caribbean. Thank you both for this briefing, and have a great weekend. And for you in the room, I would like to tell you that the next briefing is about to begin by Tlaleng Mofokeng, the UN Special Rapporteur on the Right to Health.